there, happy Thursday. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour, and I work on projects from beginning to end so you guys can be part of the whole process. So tonight we are going to continue on the Splendid Sampler 2. I am working on the scatter block right there. We have all of our pieces cut and we have started sewing them together. So I have this little bit here. So we'll keep going on this. I don't know if we'll finish tonight just because there is a lot of back and forth between the pressing and everything, but I'm gonna do my best, my darndest to get this as far as we can. And I also wanted to share with you again my project that I'm gonna work on for Finish It Friday. So tomorrow is Finish It Friday. It's the first of the month. So the first Friday of the month. So every first Friday, I get out a project that I haven't worked on in a while, some unfinished project, and I work on that for the hour instead, just to move it on along, wake it up again, basically. However, tomorrow for Finish It Friday, I'm doing the exact opposite of that, and I'm starting a new project. Just because it's itching at me and I need to start it. But I still think it's going to be a Finish It Friday because I bought fabric and it needs to be finished. So I figured the act of buying the fabric was the start of the process, and I can't just let that fabric sit around. It's got to get used up. So I will share with you guys that project again. The pattern, which I think is going to be super easy and pretty and fun. It's a digital pattern that you can get. I have the book for it, so I'll show you that again, but I put a link here to the Missouri Star Quilt Company who is selling it, and they have a digital version for like $5. So if you wanted to follow along with this, you still could. And we might be working on this a little bit more next week too, just because. So I'm gonna, just for a little breather maybe, and just because it's itching at me, I need to work on it. So I'm gonna flip you guys around and I'll show you that project, and then we will get back on to the scatter block here. Ha, I can blame it on John. There you go. Okay, so here's the scatter block pieces. I'm gonna shimmy those to the side. And so here is the project that I wanna work on. So it's from the Missouri Star Quilt Co. This is their block publication. So they put out these block publications. This is the fall, there we go, Fall Volume 1, Issue 5. There's a ton of volumes, a ton of issues. It's a little overwhelming, so I did put the direct link to this in my Facebook post here below, and it will also be, if you're watching on YouTube, the replay, it will be in that replayed as well. So the link that I put was for the digital download because, you know, I'm going to be working on it tomorrow. If you want to start working on it with me, then you can get it right away. I am doing the Triangle Tango quilt. It's on page, it starts on page 32. Here it is, a better picture. So it's kind of just big triangles that kind of move around. I think it's going to be a great pattern to show off fabrics. So this is like a king size. So these triangles are rather large. They're actually 6.5 inches, I think. So it's going to feel, these are going to feel the same size as our Splendid Sampler quilt. So this right here, that's I think a 6.5 inch, square. And then there's some borders and stuff with it as well. So that's how big it is. So 6.5 inch as a triangle. I mean, that's a great way to show off a pattern. So here's like another, look at it if you just want to see it digitally. But these are made with 2 layer cakes. So a layer cake is just a sewing term of fabric companies when they make pre-cuts of fabric. So sometimes they put together cuts of fabric that the quilters like using. A layer cake is a stack of 10-inch squares. So it's like 10-inch squares, a stack of like 40 to 42 10-inch squares. So this pattern actually requires a stack of 10-inch squares for the triangles, and then an additional 10-inch stack of 42 of the 10-inch squares, a layer cake of the background color. So in this case, white. And then you also need a pile more of the white. So it says like 1 print layer cake, 1 solid layer cake, and 5 yards of fabric for the rest of it, all these stashings and stuff. And then you need like 8. It says 8 3/4 yard for the backing still. So you still need backing fabric. So it's kind of a lot of fabric. I don't have layer cakes, so I'll be cutting it from my half yard cuts that I bought. So I have the extra step of making these layer cakes, and I actually don't have enough fabric to make a stack of 42 10-inch by 10-inch squares, but I will have enough fabric left over, I think, to make the remaining half square triangles that we need. So I can go over that again tomorrow. So if you have a couple layer cakes, this would be a perfect project, or you can make your own 10-inch squares like I'm going to start up tomorrow. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using these new fun fabrics that I got. So I got these when I was visiting the Missouri Star Quilt company. I shared these with you guys the other day, and I just think these are so freaking adorable. So these are going to be, I actually ran out of my white fabric, but I had a bolt of white muslin. So I'm going to use white muslin. It may shrink a little bit more than these, but I'm going to just roll with it. This is what I use for some embroidery kits. I like it because it has a little wider weave, so I can embroider through it easier than quilting weight cotton. So maybe I'll even put a few little embroidery bits into the white background. That would be kind of cool. So I'm going to be doing it on the white background. Let's just unroll this one so you guys can kind of see. Oop, dropped one. On the white background, so there'll be like the little triangles. So here's a little kind of what it will look like. You know, all these kind of triangles going in different directions and stuff. So there will be quite a bit of white. But look how it shows off these fabrics. I think it's going to be great. And then for the binding and the back, I'm going to use this bright green. So this will be the back fabric and the binding. And, you know, it's the same color as this little pony. I think it's just going to be a fun little springy pop to this. So this is my plan. This is what we'll be working on tomorrow for Finish It Friday. These are half-yard cuts. And I got the half-yard cuts kind of without knowing what project I was going to do. So I do have to cut these down. And I'll have like an 8-inch strip when I'm done because it'll be 18 inches tall, the half yard. So I'll get all my 10-inch ones, and then I'll have a big 8-inch strip. And that will be enough, I think, to get my remaining half square triangles that I need. So I think I will have enough fabric here, but just barely. And I think this is going to be close to a king-size quilt. So I don't know, a king-size quilt with all these cute little silly characters on. I think that'll be just really sweet. But yeah, I think this bright green, I toyed with the idea of having the bright green as my main color instead of the white. But John liked the white better, so I'm like, okay, I'll use this as like a pop around the border or the binding and for the back. So anyway, that is my plan for tomorrow. So if you guys have some fabric laying around, or again, this would be great if you do actually have some layer cakes, or you have like a lot of a solid color that you want to use up in a quilt, it would be great for the backing. And again, this is that This is that Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I did put a link there. Oh, Dawn, I think you could very, very easily make this smaller. All you would have to do is just make less triangles. So you'd have to do a little bit of math, but yeah, I mean, you could make this, you know, whatever size you want. Just like basically count up how many triangles you want to make. So with these 10-inch squares, we're actually making 4 triangles at a time. So, you know, any multiple of 4, and you got yourself a quilt. So I think for sure. Absolutely. Kathy, I put a link to it. There's a digital download version of the whole entire book for like $4.95. It's on the Missouri Star Quilt Company website. I did put a link right below directly to that digital download, but it's Fall Volume 1, Issue 5. So this is one of the older ones. Anyway, there is that link, so you can check that out. And they have the physical version of it too, but I figure if we're starting tomorrow and you want to work on it, then the digital version will work. All right, so this is where we left off last night on the scatter block. I need to sew this guy on and press it, and then this guy on and press it. So that's where we left it, so we can get right to the sewing machine. You have heaps of fabric laying around, so this would be perfect, Nolene. And I think this is going to be such an easy quilt, like especially if you've been hanging out with me for these Splendid Sampler quilts. This is going to be like a do it with your eyes closed quilt compared to those. And there's a fun kind of clever way to do the half square triangles, and it's a way that I like doing just because I think it's kind of nifty with the 10-inch layer cake. So anyway, I think it's going to be really fun. Oh, and you guys, I will be doing it on location. So John and I are going to be visiting my parents again. So I will be on location in my mom's sewing room for Finish It Friday. So we'll see how that goes. I might be using kind of quite a bit of space to cut all this fabric, so it won't be my normal setup, but it's always fun. Fun on location. We'll have to get some Wisconsin Friday night fish fry and then come back and hang out here. I'm not going to do quilt as you go for that project just because the only way I know how to do the quilt as you go process, like we're doing for the Splendid Sampler, is by putting sashing in between each block, and I didn't want to do that for this. So I'm going to just kind of crank out the whole top. I'm hoping the top doesn't take long. We'll see. I mean, it'll take more than the hour that we'll be having last night. I mean, I don't think we'll finish cutting everything tomorrow night. Not last night, tomorrow night. But I do think I kind of want to work on it later in the week too. So we might just try and crank out this top here. I think it'll be easier than the Charming Chevrons quilt. But it'll probably be kind of equivalent to that. But I think it'll go a little faster than the Charming Chevrons quilt. And I'll just do the top. I'll worry about quilting it and everything maybe in another Finish It Friday or something. But yeah, I think it's going to be just quick and easy. And yeah, especially if you guys have been hanging out with me here, it's going to feel just like nothing, which is great. We need a quilt project like that, right? If you haven't quilted anything before, this might be a good project for that. Or if you haven't sewn a quilt before, if you have a couple 10-inch squares, this would be a fun way to get started and not have it just be all squares, you know what I mean? It has triangles and some other stuff going on with it. So I think it'll be fun. And we'll be dealing with a lot bigger pieces than all these like baby pieces, these 1-inch squares that we've been dealing with lately. So that'll be nice. But yeah, I'm considering it still Finish It Friday because I like this new idea of if I buy fabric, I got to use it right away. I don't buy fabric very often just because I have just so much fabric. But you know, I like supporting quilt shops when I go in them, and oh, they get you with all that cute fabric. So I bought it. So the punishment is that I have to use it up right away, which is funny because remember that last time I got some fabric, it was from SR Harris here, that shiny or that green fabric that I did the hourglass quilt from, and it had like that sparkly metallic printing in it. That I bought and had to make something out of it right away too. That was the splurge, and if you're splurging on it, then you better use it up. So that's my plan. So technically, still a Finish It Friday. Yep, I still have the dandelion fabric. I'm not sure what to do with that yet. But someone mentioned today, a friend mentioned today, that I was showing them that dandelion fabric, and they thought it would make like really pretty, like big, like a 20-inch pillow outside. So like a simple block I could do and make some like big pillows out of it. I think that would be a really neat idea. So that might be what happens to the dandelion fabric. At least some of it. I definitely won't be using all that up, but I feel like if I'm using, geez, I can't get this flat. If I'm using up a little bit of it, you know, these fabrics, then at least I feel like I'm using what I bought. I'll still have a whole pile of all that other fabric I bought laying around, but still. I'll have done something, right? All right. That is what we had set up from last night, so now we have to set up the next bit. So let's see. Get this flat here again. I keep putting it back in the right position instead of just like dropping it because I don't want to accidentally do it on the wrong side. So this dark one goes at the bottom. Okay, next up, okay, let's lay this out again. We have these now. Okay, so this is M. So we're going to do the same thing as last night doing these, like crisscross them. So we have our two rows. So here's the other M, goes down here. Okay, C. I'm going to have to scooch it over. Oh, Gretchen, I'm with you. My machine doesn't do a blanket stitch for appliques either, and I just think it's so pretty and sweet, and I wish mine had that as well. I don't have that either. Okay, now I think this is the rest of our J's. So one goes here, and this guy, ooh, that's pretty, that flower one. J, and then a D. Do we have a D laying around here yet? Oh, it's one of these. All right, we have one of these guys. Oh, our one that's cut big enough. That's this one. Okay, so that. Oh, this is the next row. So this is that top row. So we'll sew these together, and then this is the side row. I'm gonna just kind of shimmy it to the side so it feels different. Okay, J. That's this one, and now we got to rotate it that way. This guy, and here, and the M. Okay, there's our rows. So I'm going to do this the same way I did last night, which is a little tricky. I gotta keep my brain in order. So I'm going to start from the top to bottom and left to right. So I'm going to do these two together, then these two, then these two, then these two, then these two, and then I think I can sew this grouping together. Grouping, grouping, grouping. Okay, that's how it's gonna go. I know that sounded crazy, but I'm starting with the one that has more in it, and I'm just gonna trade off back and forth. I just have to remember what order it goes. And if I know if I'm going top to bottom on this one and then left to right on this one, I think we'll be fine. So, all right, let's do it. I'll leave, I'll get a little higher up here and I'll bring that over so you guys can see the order that I'm sewing it in as well. Okay, here we are. So let's get this one and this one. I'm gonna even like fold it over so I put it on the correct side, match up the right edges. Ooh, this is another test of how well we do our 1/4 inch seam allowance. I think I have to be a hair scant, right? Okay, so now this one. Flip. Ugh, I had to turn the fire on today, you guys. It's still just so chilly. I think this weekend is supposed to be nice. All right, let's get these two. Huh, I wonder if I should go a little bit more in order because I think I'm gonna get messed up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna snip off, I'm gonna just snip them as I go. So here's my first one. I'm gonna open that up and I'm gonna add to, I'm just gonna keep going down instead of do it by groupings. I just think I'll get too confused. So we're still going relatively quick. We're still chain piecing. I'm just kind of trimming as I go. All right, so this one gets this guy. Oh yeah, I didn't put the business card on there yet. I was going to, oh shoot, I was gonna do a whole measuring up sort of thing. I'll have to do that when we get back. You're right, I was gonna line that up. I'm gonna set it out here so I do it when we get back. But what I'm gonna use for that is, let's see. I'm gonna use my Perkins Dry Goods Perfect Piecing Seam Guide. So what's nice about this is it has a little hole in here and a line. So this is that scant 1/4 inch. So if I put my needle in that hole, then I can line up my edge and I'll get my postcard right on there. So that's what I'm gonna use. I'll leave this out here as a reminder and we'll use that on Monday when I get back. All right, snip off this one. Luckily, this has a big bright yellow one and I know that's my side one. Oh my gosh, look at how little these pieces end up. Okay, flip another one down. So we'll press these with all open seams as well. All right, just a couple more. Top row and side row. So after these top rows and side rows, then I think we have another just 2 white pieces, and then we have to do this one more time with our last little grouping of tiny pieces. So I don't know, we'll be cutting it close. I think we'll get close though. There we go. Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, did I do that right? But yeah, we're fine still. All right, so now this will be the last of my top row. And then the last of the bottom. Ugh, Libby, it's been raining here too. Luckily it didn't rain today, but it's just been dreary and chilly and I'm over it. I just want to go for walks outside and be a normal temperature. That's what I want. All right, here's the last one of our side row here. I'm going slow just to be wary of that 1/4 inch. Right, we'll get another leader started here as well. Look at all these leaders. I have all these half square triangles to cut open from. Oh, look, this has a little person in it. Half square triangles. So that's another project to do sometime. But yeah, instead of leaders, where I just put a little, instead of just putting a little piece of like fabric scrap under there, I'm actually doing these squares, and I'm gonna end up with just a pile of half square triangles. So I'm pretty stoked about this project. Another random project, but this is a magic project because this is just, I need to put something here anyway, so it's just a little extra something. Okay, we have our top and we have our side. So let's press these. Let's zip over here. And they get pressed open still. So I'm just gonna kind of lay it on its back and kind of just tug on it a little bit so it's flat. And I'm gonna press them all to one side. And then I will come back and press the seams open. There we go. Actually, I'm gonna let that cool for a sec because sometimes it's a little too hot. Let's do this one. It's too warm for my fingers to pop those open. Okay, so while that one's cooling, now we'll hop back to this one. So I'm just lifting up that seam. So now we have an open seam instead of a seam to the side. All right. Little bitty pieces. They want to close up. And last one. Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Oh, I'm excited for tomorrow's project. I'm excited to cut into these fabrics. They were so cute. Had to get all of them that I saw there at the shop. Okay, set that down. I'm just gonna lay this flat, try and get all those seams to stay open when I lay it flat this way. There we go. And we'll press that. Okay, so this guy is ready. Hopefully he's the right length. Let's just kind of peek. It goes this way. Oh, we might be a hair too scant. So I might be sewing just a little too scant. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll put the big on the bottom and see how that goes. But yeah, so I'm making my seam allowances. Since this is ending up a hair bigger than this piece, that means I'm making my seam allowances a little too small. They're not using up enough fabric. So we'll see how this guy is once we get that sewn. So I'll have to pay attention to that. Pay attention to that again. I'm always paying attention to that, right? Oh, Barbara, yes. This is a cordless iron. This is one of my absolutely most favorite purchases as of late. There's a stand right here, so the stand is plugged in, but this is cordless, and it is amazing for larger projects where you don't want a cord dangling around everywhere. So this is the Panasonic. If you just Google, I think I have a link for it here, but if you just Google the 360 Panasonic cordless iron, so 360 because it's pointy on both ends, you can use either end to open up your seams and that sort of deal. But yeah, this is one of my favorite purchases. This and the little wool mat. Those I've used every single day since I've purchased it. So here we go. All right, we have this guy. We got to do him first, And I wonder if we got close. My seam allowance is a little bit better for this. I think we might have. So let's first we got to do this and press it, and then we got to do this side here. So let's go to the machine for these two. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you don't, Gretchen said it just right. It's such a wonderful investment and a treat. I've been super happy. It's one of those things where like, yeah, I have to deal with that cord. Is that really that big of a deal? But when you don't have to have the cord there anymore, it really, oh gosh, is a nice feature. All right. I'm putting this guy on the bottom because it is a little bit bigger, because I made my seam allowances maybe a hair too scant, a hair too skinny, making everything else bigger. I don't have to match anything up, any seams for this one. I'm just trying to keep my seams flat here. All right. Oop, machine's trying to eat it a little bit, so I'm just gonna tug on my leader there. And okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of try and pull the top a little bit and let the machine feed in the bottom. And by doing that, by having the bigger one on the bottom, it should get closer to matching up. Hopefully, we'll see. Just gonna kind of match up this end, and hopefully the machine, the feed dogs, will take some of that bulk away for me. And we'll end up matching up, even though they weren't matching up to begin with. All right, there's that. I need to get another leader out here. Again, these are all just scrap fabric that I have. It's from clothing, old clothes. Okay, let's snip and snip. Oh yeah, look, the machine ate it a bit there. I haven't done that in a little while. I think by pressing it, that'll clear that up a little bit. All right, let's get to the iron again, and then we'll be able to get this piece on. All right, so we're still, oh gosh, look, I did that seam got mushed in there too. I'm gonna we'll press that flat on this side again. Press it this way. It is getting kind of bulky, so it's kind of tough pressing all the seams open, I think, but we're giving it a go. That's how they are, again, in these instructions, and I want to just kind of stick to that. Oh, this seam got pressed closed just now. Okay. Gosh, all right. Just trying to keep these all flat here. All right, let's flip this guy open and then get that other side on. See how close to the right measurement we are for that. And then our next ones, oops, sorry, I hit you guys here. The next ones is just a top and bottom white piece, or top and side white piece. So that'll be another easy one. Then our next rows are similar to this, where we have to sew a bunch of pieces again. We're getting there though, you guys. We're getting this close. Even if we don't get it done, we will get it really close tonight. Okay, so here we are. This one goes here, and oh, now that's, yeah, it's a little big yet, but it's not too bad. Actually, it's really close, this one. If I stretch it, it's a hair big, but it's close. I do have like this little kind of arc going, which to me means that I'm veering off at the end of my stitching, because I'm starting it. If I'm starting here, I'm starting with a good seam allowance, but as I go towards the end, I'm getting skinny again, making it bigger here. So it's spreading out a little bit, so that's something I gotta watch. I have a habit of doing that when I sew. I kind of veer off at the end. But anyway, we do have a seam to match up this time though, and it's this one right here. I don't think I had to match anything up here. No. All right, so this one I think I'll clip. Oh, you're familiar with the arc, Barbara. Yeah, I know why it's happening, but I'm doing it at just so minutely veering off. Or to me, it seems minute. We'll do the big on the bottom again. But yeah, so it's just one side's a little bit droopity compared to the other. All right, yay, we get to sew this on though, and we get to get our next two pieces. All right, put the big on the bottom again. I'm gonna just preemptively pull this a little bit. Oops, I'm not watching my seam allowances. Hopefully they're all still flat there. All right, this is the one that I want matched up as best I can. So I'm gonna just hold it there with my stiletto. This is great, having an extra little pointy finger in here, I think. All right, and get this other leader done. We made a ton of these in this project. Oh, someone told you it's because of the rear feet dogs. Oh, because the rear, it's like pulling funny? Oh, I'll have to look into that too. Okay. I know, Gina, I forgot the business card today, but I did. So for Monday, this is what I'm going to use to get that perfect seam allowance with my business card right there, that I can bump my fabric up to the business card like how I used to. There's a hole in here where you put your needle, and then you have your 1/4 inch. So that's what I'm going to put the business card to. So this is what I'm going to use. I'll use it on Monday when I get back into town. So it's the Perkins Dry Goods. You can search for that, or perkinsdrygoods.com. The Perfect Piecing Seam Guide. So that's what I will use to match that up on Monday, because I forgot about it today. Okay, again, I'm going to one side first, and then we'll press it open. Oh, it just wants to be folded the one direction, but we're gonna force it open. Can you tell that I don't like pressing the seams open as much as I like pressing it to one side? I've been complaining about them all night tonight. just whiny tonight about them. And that one just doesn't want to stay open. But ugh, oh well. We need it open now though. Oh wait, no, that's on the side. I don't need that open. Okay, anyway, there we are. Oh, it's looking awfully sweet, isn't it? All right, now we have 2 white pieces, so let's check that out. All right, we have N. So here's our N piece. Again, I put this in the right direction. We weren't really all that on with our seam matching up there, but oh well. Again, it's the white on white. You can't really tell. Fuzzle. Okay, N. So that goes on the top. So these should be equal at this point. And then, oh, so that's our next one here. All right, so we're gonna sew, press, and then we will be ready for these guys here, I think. Oh man, I don't think we're gonna finish it though. We might just get, yeah, we'll see. I got some packing and everything to do tonight yet, so I don't know if I can stay too late tonight, but oh, it's gonna be a huge bummer not to have this done. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do in 20 minutes here, and if we're almost done, then we're just gonna crank it out. I can't leave this undone. So again, I put the big on the bottom. It's just slightly bigger. Then I'm just kind of holding the end here, making sure the edges are together. Yeah, so it's like right about here, I start kind of veering off. All right, oh, we don't need any. That's it for this one. I'm like reaching for my next piece, but there is no next piece. Snip. Jeez, like I said, cranking these things out. All right, let's press back to the iron. Oh, I accidentally, well, I folded some of these guys over. Oh well, they're gonna get, well, they're that way now. I suppose it doesn't matter. It'll just be a little bit bulkier when I quilt, but it's already pretty bulky. And I got bulkier blocks than this. Oh, Terry, thanks. I'm totally loving these colors too. So this is unusual for my quilt. I'm using all those kind of cream colors and yellow colors, but this is my block number 40 that I've been working on. Gosh, I'm not even near halfway. But every 5 blocks, I add, every 5th block, I add a little bit more color. So I have in the past, I have been just kind of veering to tons of bright colors and bold and dark colors. And my last Splendid Sampler was pretty dark. It had a lot of like navy in and stuff. So for this one, this Splendid Sampler quilt, I was giving myself the challenge of doing an almost all pale yellow, cream, and white quilt. So I don't have hardly any contrast, and I don't have any bright colors. However, I still wanted little pops of bright colors in it, but I knew if I had the option of bright colors, then I would use them more than I wanted to. So I gave myself a rule, and that rule was I can only use them every 5 blocks. And they have to be just like a little pop of color. They can't be like a big main part of it. So this is actually the first one that I've used lots of different fabrics for the pops of color. But luckily, you know, they're just teeny tiny little squares. All right, here's a new fabric for this. Another old shirt cut up. Oh, I must have cut that one off already. Weird. All right, let's press that and see where we are next. Oh, I hope so, Jennifer. I think the little pops of color will be really fun. I mean, if it looks anything like how this block is turning out with pops of color, I'm totally loving it. Lots of white, lots of cream and yellows, and then every once in a while, a little bit more color. All right, here we are so far. Next up is another one of those kind of intricate rows, and then that's it. We just have one more set of white to go on there. So, oh man, how are we doing on time? Whew, I don't know. We're going to be cutting it really close here. Okay, I need a Q. Okay, so Q. There's another one here. Q and Q. All right. And then E. That's these. E. E. Oh, and it looks like I'm trading off these letter P's. Okay, gosh, these are the 1-inchers right here. These are the babies. Okay, and then this guy, he gets another one. And all right, so same thing. I'm going to start here, and then we'll just work our way through these rows. Oh, look how pretty this is going to be. Cute! All right, let's do it. Right. See how quickly I can do these. Maybe I'll just, this time maybe I'll leave them together. Like not cut them off right away. I'm just gonna have to pay close attention to what I'm doing so I don't screw it up. But it'll be a little less cutting. All right, remember I was making these a little too scant, so I'm gonna go right on this edge this time and see if that helps. All right, now I'm gonna grab just the next two here. And then these two. All right, and these, and then I'll have to trim them off and start putting them together. Relaying them out again. Okay, so I started, so these are in a chain right now, so I'm cutting them off one at a time. So this one was first. Just kind of finger press it open here. All right, I think we had, yep, like that. So that's the up and down row. This one goes on this side. Then again to the up and down one. And this one to this side. All right. I think we'll do this guy now. Yeah, we'll do this guy. Now I might have to start trimming them off. Actually, not quite yet. I can sew these two together. Oh, I feel like I might have veered off on that one again. I was really, that was really noticeable for me, like kind of veering, curving off at the end of my seams. In the first Splendid Sampler, I realized I was doing that. Before that, I didn't really care. I don't think I didn't really know that I was veering off that much, but I was. All right, this guy goes here. This guy over here. Yeah. Yep. It ends in, yep, ends in white. There we go. This would be so difficult without having this stiletto here, I think. All right, and then this goes onto here, and then that's it. Ha-ha! All right, we do have to press. That takes a little bit of time, and then we gotta sew them on one at a time. Ugh, I think we can do it though. I'm not gonna leave it with these done and only those two other ends to do. We're gonna finish this guy. All right, let's press these two guys again. Zoop. All right. We'll do one and then the other. Same as last time. Let that guy cool for a moment while I get this one. All right, and now we'll press them open. Pressed them open all this time, might as well keep going, right? All right, there we are. That's the one. Let's flip it over and give it one last hit. Okay, this is the upper. Look, it's kind of waving all over the place. Oh well, we'll be fine. And let's press these open. One extra seam on this one. So these seams extend the whole width of these little pieces because they're only a ½ inch big now that they're sewn. Started out with those 1-inch squares. All right, we did it. Flip it around again. Okay, there we are. So, oh, it's growing. This guy goes here. I'm gonna get these guys out right away. R goes on top, and S goes on the side. So here's our last 4 pieces. We do have to sew and press them separately though, so it'll take a little bit of time. Again, there's nothing that needs to match up on here, it looks like, which is great. Ooh, it looks a little bit bigger again, so we're gonna put that on the bottom. All right. Big on the bottom. All right, match that edge up. All right. Oh, well, this seam is definitely not pressed open. Oh, I didn't press any of these seams open. Or they closed on themselves. Oh, well, those ones aren't open. Fine with me. Just kind of lining up this end. Ooh, I want to line up this edge to get in there. Oh, yep, the needle had to work a little bit to get through all that, but oh well. Another leader. Okay, let's quickly press this and get our next row on. Shimmying back and forth today. What a cute little horsey. Oops, sorry, I nudged you guys again. Getting a little wiggly. I think I just forgot to press that other seam open. All right, that's good enough. Okay, so now this guy goes on, and again, I think it's a little bit bigger, so we'll put him on the bottom as well. Man, I'm a lot more scant on these than I thought, I guess. I think if I remember with the horse one, I was scant on the ones where I'm just sewing 2 pieces of fabric together, but I was less scant, like I was like over the amount I needed to be on the blocks that when I had to sew big rows together with lots of seams. All right, we're lined up here. All right, we just need to press this and we will have just those two last little rows. Almost there. 3 minutes. We'll be a little bit over. I think it'll take a little more than 3 minutes to get these guys done, but not that much more. This makes me feel good though, finishing up this guy before heading out of town and before finish it Friday, before the weekend. It'll be good to have this block done. Clean up my sewing area a little bit. All right, I think that's about as good as that's gonna get. Okay. Here are the last two rows. So we have this guy on top here. That's looking really good as far as length now. And then this guy on the side, looking good. All right, let's do it. Probably making you guys dizzy tonight with all the back and forth everywhere. Yes, exactly, a fresh start going home. With all this done. Oh, this has a funny little thread in there, but oh well. That's not going to be noticeable. All right, and line up all these fellers. And then we gotta press again, and then sew again. It's always the pressing that I forget takes a whole nother step and extra time. So that's still annoying to me, the pressing. I am happy that my iron is right here though. It would be annoying to walk across the room every time I needed to press something for this. So press, sew, and we will press, and then we'll be done. Done. All right. These little white strips just really frame this up, and oh my God, look how tiny these squares ended up being. Oh, they're so small. I think the tiniest we have had yet. Ugh. These seams are just everywhere, pressed open. Well, these are not pressing open very well. They just might not be. All right, let's frame it off with that last piece. See how well we did for the height first. Yeah, not too shabby. Let's do it. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Noeline. It's like a little quilt in a block, this one. I totally agree. This one would be pretty adorable, enlarged to be a quilt size. For sure. Nice, graphic, simple quilt. Got flat seams here. I think we're good. All right, line up this edge again. There we go. Last seam. Let's get this leader back so we can use the same one. All right, let's press it and be done. Got all my little letters hiding underneath there yet. Oh yeah, with a charm pack and some jelly rolls. Those are two other kinds of pre-cut fabric shapes. Charm packs are 2.5-inch squares, and jelly rolls are 2.5-inch long strips that go the width of the fabric, which is usually around 42 inches. You know what? I think I'm going to just leave this seam as is. It does not want to be pressed open. I'm going to just leave it to the side. So let's just hit it from the front. Oh, funny. I must have really... Oh, I had a seam to line up there, and I don't think I remembered to do that. Oh, well. But look, I definitely sewed this with a bigger seam allowance because, look, I got a little rectangle there. Again, that's what happened with my horse block, too. But these ones look better, so I must have did a little bit better with that last seam. Yeah, I did. I can tell. These seams are just a hair too big, which scrunched up my little squares and turned them into rectangles. But I think in general, we're still pretty good there. Let's take a look. All right, it is done. Let's see if I have my 6.5-inch ruler here. See how close we got. Shouldn't be too far off because this is a 6.5-inch line. Oh gosh, we kind of are. I'm an 1/8 inch off again. Sheesh Louise. So I am still making my seams, I think, just a hair small in general. I'll probably have to add to this anyway after we're done quilting it, but all in all, I'm liking it. Pretty good for all those small pieces. Sometimes it's hard to get it just the exact size. I like how it kind of starts way over here and each row kind of gets up a little higher and in a little higher. So awesome! All right, you guys, I'm going to flip you around and we'll call it an evening. We got it done. And pretty much on time. Ha-ha! So we cranked out that little end, finishing this up. Ooh, gosh. All right, we'll leave it right there. a little crooked. All right, there we are. Oh, look at it, it's so cute. I really like the colors, how they ended up too. So we have the bright colors here, and then these are kind of our normal colors that we've been using in the quilt, but some brighter ones for it. So like it. All right, another one done. Soon we're gonna have to start sewing them together again and doing some more quilt as you go. But yeah, I think we're gonna work on this project tomorrow from the block, from the Missouri Star Quilt Co. block. So again, I have a link to the pattern. I have actually a link to the whole book. It's just like a digital link. It's like $5 for the whole entire book. And the pattern is in there, and I'll be using my cute new fabrics. Look at those little guys. So that will be tomorrow for Finish It Friday on location at my in my mom's sewing room. So I will see you guys then again at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and I will get this up on YouTube tonight on Penguin and Fish Movies on YouTube. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night.